Everyone knows Standard Oil crushed the competition through ruthless pricing. That's not actually how they won. The textbook explanation is clean and satisfying. John D. Rockefeller undercut rivals until they went bankrupt, then raised prices and printed money. Predatory pricing, simple as that. And here's the trick, that story is partially true. Standard Oil did engage in aggressive pricing. But if you follow the actual cash flows, if you track where the margin actually came from, the real mechanism was something far more sophisticated and far more dangerous. By the 1870s, oil refining was a sprawling, chaotic industry. Hundreds of small refineries competed in Cleveland, New York, and Pennsylvania. Kerosene was the product everyone wanted. It lit lamps before electricity existed. The problem? Getting it to market was a nightmare. Railroads controlled the only reliable transport routes, and they charged whatever they wanted. This is where most histories pause. They say Rockefeller's genius was efficiency. He built bigger refineries, cut costs, and undercut competitors. True, but watch the money flow. Rockefeller didn't just build refineries, he built pipelines. And here's the trick, he didn't charge Standard Oil's refineries the same pipeline rate he charged everyone else. In the 1870s, Rockefeller formed the South Improvement Company. Officially, it was a cooperative of refineries. Actually, it was a cartel with a secret pricing structure. Standard Oil's pipelines charged Standard Oil refineries a fraction of what independent refiners paid. A competitor might pay $3 per barrel to move oil. Standard paid 50 cents. The independent refiners didn't fail because Standard Oil's kerosene was cheaper in the market. They failed because they couldn't afford to get their kerosene to market. Their transportation costs were 5 times higher. Standard Oil wasn't winning on product quality or consumer preference. It was winning on infrastructure control. The pipeline network was the real monopoly. But Rockefeller went further. He didn't just own pipelines to his own refineries. He acquired or built pipelines in every major oil region. When a competitor wanted to move crude, they had to use Standard Oil's pipes or the pipes Rockefeller owned through shell companies. And here's the trick. He could see exactly what volume every refiner was moving. Total visibility, total control. Competitors couldn't hide. If a rival ramped up production, Standard Oil knew within days. If they tried to move oil through Rockefeller's pipes, they paid the premium rate. If they tried to build their own pipelines, Standard Oil either bought the land first or used political pressure to block them. The railroads, meanwhile, gave Standard Oil secret rebates and kickbacks on shipping rates. This wasn't just efficiency. This was information asymmetry weaponized. Standard Oil could undercut competitors on price because it had lower costs, not through better technology, but through preferential access to infrastructure. A refiner with high transport costs can't compete on price, no matter how good their operation is. By 1882, Standard Oil controlled roughly 90% of U.S. refining capacity, not because it had the best product, not because it innovated faster, because it owned the pipes. And once you own the pipes, you control the market. You can charge competitors whatever you want. You can see their every move. You can strangle them slowly or quickly, your choice. The government eventually noticed. The Sherman Antitrust Act was partly a response to Standard Oil's practices. In 1911, the Supreme Court ordered the company broken up. But by then, Rockefeller had already extracted billions in profit. The monopoly had done its work. Here's what matters for understanding modern business. Standard Oil's real advantage wasn't pricing power. It was infrastructure control. Once you own the pipes, the rails, the warehouses, the distribution network, once you own the choke point, pricing becomes secondary. You've already won. This pattern repeats. Amazon owns the logistics. Apple owns the App Store. These aren't just businesses, they're infrastructure companies, and infrastructure companies can control entire markets without ever competing on the actual product. The pipes matter more than what flows through them. Standard Oil's secret wasn't a pricing strategy. It was a network strategy. Rockefeller understood something most competitors didn't. Owning the infrastructure that connects buyers to sellers is more valuable than owning the product itself. And here's the trick. Once you control the network, competition becomes almost impossible. The implications were staggering. Standard Oil didn't just dominate refining. It became the essential middleman between oil producers and consumers. Producers needed access to Standard's pipes. Consumers needed Standard's refined product. Everyone else was trapped in the middle, paying the toll. This is why understanding cash flows matters more than understanding product stories. The company that controls distribution doesn't need to be the cheapest or the best. It just needs to be unavoidable. Standard Oil proved that principle in the 1880s. The lesson stuck. When regulators finally broke up Standard Oil, they split the refineries but didn't fully address the pipeline control. Some regional monopolies just shifted hands. The infrastructure advantage persisted, even after the company was dismantled. That's how durable pipeline power is. The story we're usually told about Standard Oil is about predatory pricing and ruthless tactics. Those things happened, but they were symptoms, not causes. The real mechanism was infrastructure control. Rockefeller built an invisible monopoly, one made of pipes and networks, not just market share, and once you see how that worked, you see it everywhere. This video is for educational and informational purposes only and is not financial advice. Always do your own research. Subscribe to see how the hidden infrastructure behind today's biggest companies follows the exact same playbook, a new case every week. This video is for educational and informational purposes only and is not financial advice. Always do your own research.